here we're saying that each of 7 employees, 7 candidates for the position of judge. So we have H, J, K, L, M, O, and P will be appointed to an open position on one of 2 courts. So we know that they're going to be on either court 1 or court 2, right?
Mhm.
So we have the appellate court and we have the trial court. There are 3 open positions on the appellate court and 6 open positions on the trial court. So I'm just going to write down that like the appellate court has 3 and the trial court has 6, which is just interesting because there's only...
Originally, I would do A, T, T chart, and then put 6 dashes on under the T and 3 under the A.
Same. I would, we're kind of gonna, yes, that's how I used to too. But not all of them will be filled at the time, which is important because we only have 7 people and there's 9. So there at least for sure has to be 1 on the appellate court, right? Because the maximum is 6 for trial. So no matter what, there's at least 1 on the appellate court. The judicial...
Wait, what did you just say?
Like if there's 7 people total, without reading the rules,
There's 2 extras.
there's 2, well, there's 2 extra spots on the court. But if we maxed out the trial court, there would always at least be 1 on the appellate court, right? So there at least is always going to be 1 on each for sure. Well, and actually there's at least going to be 4 on the trial court for sure, right?
Mhm.
There's a max you can have on the appellate court history. These are just things that I'm thinking about as I go. All right, so what you do is you actually automatically just write down all your variables right away. So this is called the circle slash method, supposedly. H, J, K, O, and P. Okay. And so when you read your rules, it says L must be appointed to the appellate court. So this is actually really easy. So what you actually do is you give a code to each one of these. So typically on an in and out game, like I'll be like, oh, the in group I'll circle and the out group I'll slash. But my slash, or the ones I slash here, are really just the trial court, if that makes sense. Does that make sense so far?
Mhm.
So L must be appointed to the appellate court. Well, that's actually really nice because that means all I have to do, this one I actually don't have to split. I'm just going to circle L, and that means that L is on the appellate court. And then I'm going to go on to rule number 2. K must be appointed to the trial court. So actually this one, we don't even have to split again. We're still on the same, we can still be using the same world where we're just saying, hey, L must be, or Kurt must be appointed to the trial. So I'm going to put a slash through Kurt. I'm going to use, actually, because I don't like that, I'm going to use a square for trial. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Use a triangle.
A triangle? Okay, I'll use a triangle. All right, then H cannot be appointed to the same court as Perkins. So this is one that I would split, and I'm going to make everything happen. So now I'm going to also have world 2. But so in my first world, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make H appointed to, let's say, the appellate court. Or I guess I'm making him the trial court. If I make H go on the trial court in world 1, I need to make H go on the appellate court in world 2. But then I go ahead and just apply this rule. So if H cannot be appointed to the same court as Perkins, in world 1, what court must Perkins be assigned to then?
Appellate.
Awesome. And then in world 2, which one must, oh,
Trial.
the other thing, I'm sorry, I should have said this too. You also have to copy over your worlds exactly as they were beforehand. So these should have been circled, like when we split it. So this one below, Perkins, you were absolutely right, would actually be on the trial court. All right, so we actually applied all our rules, so we don't have to think about them at all. The only thing I want to pay attention to is that the appellate court can have 3. And so do any of my appellate courts have 3? No. So I know that in these ones, just the one thing I just want to think about is that the max appellate courts that we can have more is just one. The maximum. But they essentially any ones that are not circled are just what is it called? They're just floaters. Is this making sense at all?
Yeah, I just don't know if it'll be like enough time to implement